Relations between Russia and many countries in Eastern Europe have always been quite tense, and to put it frankly, hostile. This became especially noticeable with the onset of the war in Ukraine, as many Eastern European countries took an extremely hostile position towards Russia, while providing the greatest support to Ukraine. This is particularly contrasting when compared to some countries in Western Europe that seek reconciliation with Russia. In this video we will discuss why such animosity towards Russia has emerged in Eastern European countries. Let's start with one of the largest countries in Eastern Europe, Poland. Russian-Polish relations have been hostile throughout history. The countries have been competitors in the regions for a long time and have fought wars and armed conflicts for centuries. Poland and Russia have witnessed dozens of wars and armed clashes throughout history. The Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth and the Russian Empire were major adversaries in their time, and after Russia's victory in this confrontation, most Polish lands were absorbed. For more than a century, Poles existed as part of the Russian Empire, which led to numerous uprisings and suppression of Polish identity. The 20th century brought even more tension between the countries. As a result of the World War I, an independent Polish state was established, leading to a new war, the Soviet-Polish War. During the interwar period, relations remained hostile, eventually resulting in the division of Poland between the Soviet Union and Germany in 1939. Despite the revival of the Polish state after the end of World War II, the country fell under complete dependence on the Soviet Union and effectively became its satellite, just like many other Eastern European countries. After gaining full independence following the dissolution of the Soviet Union, the Poles immediately sought to join Western institutions, such as European Union and NATO, while distancing themselves as much as possible from Russia. Anti-Russian views have always been prevalent in Poland, and after the start of the war in Ukraine, it became clear that the fears of the Poles were not unfounded. Czechia and Slovakia also have hostile attitudes towards Russia today, despite historically having maintained friendly relations for a long time. For many centuries, Czechs and Slovaks lived together, and upon gaining independence, they form a common state, which is why they should be considered together. During the time when they were part of Austria-Hungary, Czechs and Slovaks were predominantly Russophiles and held a favorable view of the concept of Russian pan-Slavism. Even a separate Czechoslovak corps fought alongside the Russian army during World War I. In peacetime, relations remained warm. In 1939, the Soviet Union and France even provided guarantees to Czechoslovakia and promised assistance in case of aggression. However, the agreements initially stipulated that France would first join on the side of Czechoslovakia, and only then would the Soviet Union intervene. Nevertheless, in 1938, when the Sudeten crisis loomed, the Soviet Union offered its help but was unable to provide it due to Poland's resistance. After the end of World War II, Czechoslovakia found itself in similar position as Poland and became a Soviet satellite country. An important event that still influences Czech and Slovak society today was the deployment of Soviet troops in Czechoslovakia to suppress protests and remove an unfavorable government. After the collapse of the Soviet Union and the decline of the socialist bloc, Czechoslovakia also disintegrated. However, both countries quickly integrated into Western institutions and distanced themselves from Russia. Today, these countries have extremely hostile attitudes towards Russia, and despite their small size, are significant contributors to the Ukrainian army. Despite the fact that the Russian Empire helped Bulgaria gain independence from the Ottoman Empire, relations between the two countries did not improve immediately. After gaining independence in the Balkans, disputes arose among the newly formed countries over territories, leading to wars. Russia openly supported Serbia in these wars, causing the Bulgarian government to take a hostile position. In the world wars, Bulgaria found itself in hostile coalitions. In the First World War, Bulgaria initially tried to maintain neutrality, but eventually joined the war on the side of the Central Powers. In the Second World War, Bulgarians aligned themselves with the Axis powers, but did not engage in combat against the Soviet Union. Like other Eastern European countries, Bulgaria fell under Soviet influence after the war and became part of the Warsaw Pact. The socialist government relied heavily on Soviet assistance and repressive measures. After the fall of the socialist bloc, the country turned towards the West and joined NATO and the European Union, following the path of many other nations. Romania also owes much of its independence to Russia, but the relations was ambiguous from the beginning. In the 19th century, Romania constantly shifted between Austria and Russia. However, in the First World War, Romania joined the Entente countries 2 years after the war began. The interwar period saw complicated military relations, but at the start of the Second World War, the Soviet Union could even announce the annexation of part of Romania's territory, namely Northern Bukovina and Bessarabia, in 1940. Despite close relations between Romania and Germany, the latter allowed the Soviet Union to annex these lands under the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact. The Soviet Union justified this annexation by claiming that these lands were part of the Russian Empire and had been annexed by Romania during the Civil War. After World War II, Romania found itself in the pro-Soviet camp, but was able to pursue a more autonomous policy compared to other countries. For example, the Romanian army was only one from the Warsaw Pact that did not participate in the invasion of Czechoslovakia. With the collapse of the Socialist bloc, Romania also hastened to join NATO to ensure its national security and avoid becoming a satellite once again. Modern relations are further complicated by the issue of Bessarabia. Specifically in Moldova, both Romania and Russia are competing for influence in the country. In the early 1990s, Moldova even wanted to join Romania and become a part of it. However, due to political disagreements and the cessation of Transnistria, they were unable to do so. Relations between Russia and the Baltic states have also remained tense for a long time. The Baltic states gained independence in the early 20th century due to the Russian Civil War, but their independence did not last long. At the beginning of World War II, the Soviet Union presented several ultimatums to the governments of these countries, and eventually accused the acting governments of non-compliance, leading to changes in government and subsequent territorial annexations. Thus, the Baltic states became part of the Soviet Union, as later revealed in the secret protocol of the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact. The local population strongly opposed such actions, leading to repressions in the Baltic states. In 1941, when Germany attacked the Soviet Union, the Baltic peoples began to massively align with them and hoped that the Germans would grant them independence. After the war, resistance in the Baltic states did not end, and underground formations, known as the Forest Brothers, operated within the Soviet Union until the mid-1950s. With the beginning of perestroika and glasnost in the Soviet Union, the Baltic countries were the first to declare sovereignty and pursue separation from the Union. After the dissolution of the Soviet Union, the Baltic countries gained independence and soon joined the European Union and NATO. The Baltic peoples themselves considered the time when their territories were part of the Soviet Union as an occupation. Interestingly, the West never recognized the annexation of these territories, despite them being part of the Union for 50 years. In conclusion, it's worth mentioning that due to their territorial proximity to Russia, many Eastern European countries have gained a negative historical experience by either falling under Russian influence or being occupied by Russia. This is precisely why the current attitude towards Russia is extremely cautious and hostile, and the countries themselves, upon breaking free from Russia's influence, immediately turn towards NATO to ensure independence and security. That's it for today. Don't forget to like and comment this video. See ya!